Have you ever wondered why people worship? What is the purpose of praying, meditating, or following spiritual practices? What do we gain from it? And what happens if we don't? For centuries, humans have sought a connection beyond themselves. From ancient times to today, people turn to worship as a way to find peace, meaning, and guidance. But why? Is it just a habit, or is there something deeper? In this video, we'll explore the power of worship and practicing in daily life from a monotheistic perspective. No specific religion, just the core idea of connecting with the divine and how it affects our well-being, our values, and even our dignity. Stay with me, and by the end of this video, you might see worship in a whole new way. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a thought-provoking discussion like this one. Your support helps spread awareness and knowledge. Now let's get started, understanding worship in the monotheistic view. First, let's break it down. What does worship even mean? Some people think it's just about rituals, bowing, chanting, fasting, or following specific rules. But in the monotheistic view, worship is much more than that. It's about recognizing that there is a higher power, bigger than us, wiser than us, and the source of everything we have. Think about the sun. We don't control when it rises or sets, yet our lives depend on it. We didn't create the air we breathe, but without it, we wouldn't survive. Worship is about acknowledging that we are not in control of everything and being grateful for the things we often take for granted. But worship isn't just about belief, it's about practice, living in a way that aligns with the values of honesty, kindness, and self-discipline. It's a way to stay connected to something greater than ourselves and remind us of our purpose. So, in the monotheistic view, worship is both an internal feeling and an external action. It's a mindset and a lifestyle. Benefits of worship and practice. So why do it? What do we actually gain from worship and practicing faith? Let's start with the personal benefits. Worship helps bring peace to the heart and mind. Life is stressful. Work, school, relationships, responsibilities. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but worship gives us a moment to step back, breathe, and reconnect. Imagine a phone that never gets charged. At first it works fine, but over time it slows down, glitches, and eventually shuts off. Worship is like plugging in your soul. It recharges your mind, giving you strength to deal with life's challenges. Beyond peace, worship also builds self-discipline. Whether it's fasting, daily prayers, or acts of kindness, worship teaches us to control our desires and focus on what truly matters. It's like exercising. At first it's hard, but over time it makes us stronger, healthier, and more disciplined. Emotional and mental well-being. Did you know that studies have shown that people who engage in regular worship or spiritual practices tend to have lower stress levels, less anxiety, and a stronger sense of purpose? Think about a child who feels lost in a big crowd. The moment they find their parents' hand, they feel safe. Worship has a similar effect. It reminds us that we are not alone in this world. No matter how hard life gets, there is always a higher power watching over us. Moral clarity and ethical living. Worship doesn't just benefit us individually. It shapes how we treat others. It teaches honesty, patience, and humility. Think about it. If someone believes in a higher power that sees everything, wouldn't they think twice before lying, cheating, or harming others? Worship is like a moral compass. It keeps us on the right path. Imagine you're driving at night. Without streetlights or road signs, you might take a wrong turn and get lost. Worship is like those streetlights. It guides us, helping us make the right choices even when life gets dark. social and community benefits. And it doesn't stop there. Worship strengthens our relationships with others. It brings people together, builds communities, and creates a sense of unity. Have you ever seen how people come together to help? During a disaster, worship develops the spirit of care and selflessness, not just in emergencies, but in everyday life. When people worship together, they see beyond race, nationality, and status. They stand side by side, equal before their Creator. And in a world full of division, that unity is powerful. So worship isn't just about personal faith, it's about making the world a better place. What happens if we don't worship? Alright, now let's flip the question. What happens if we don't worship? If we completely ignore spiritual practices, does it make any difference? Some people think worship is just extra. It's not necessary. But let's look at what happens when we remove worship from our lives, losing purpose and direction. Imagine a ship sailing in the ocean without a compass or a destination. It just drifts aimlessly, not knowing where it's headed. That's what happens when we lose our sense of worship and spiritual connection. Worship gives us purpose. It reminds us why we are here, what our values are, and what truly matters. Without it, life can start to feel empty, just a cycle of work, eat, sleep, repeat. We might chase money, fame, or temporary happiness, but at some point, we'll ask, is this all there is? Think about celebrities who seem to have everything: money, fame, luxury, but still struggle with depression or addiction. Why? Because material success alone doesn't bring inner peace. Worship fills that gap by giving life a higher meaning. Increased stress and anxiety. Studies show that people with spiritual practices tend to have better mental health. Why? Because worship provides comfort, hope, and a sense of control. When we don't worship, we rely only on ourselves for everything, and that's a heavy burden. Imagine a student who has a huge exam coming up. If they only rely on themselves, they might feel overwhelmed, but if they pray or meditate, it helps them feel supported, reminding them that they're not alone. Worship is like having an anchor. It keeps us steady in the storms of life. Without it, stress and anxiety can take over. Moral decline and selfishness. Let's be honest, when there's no belief in a higher power watching over us, it's easier to justify wrong actions. Lying, cheating, harming others. It all becomes easier when we don't feel accountable to anything greater than ourselves. Think of a classroom where the teacher steps out. Some students might keep following the rules, but others might start misbehaving because they think no one is watching. Worship reminds us that even if no one else sees, the Creator does. Without worship, morality becomes shaky. It turns into do whatever you want, as long as you don't get caught. And that mindset leads to a society with more dishonesty, corruption, and selfishness. How worship shapes a better society. Worship isn't just a personal thing. It affects the whole society. A community that values worship and spiritual practice is usually more peaceful, united, and strong. Here's why. Worship encourages kindness and generosity. When people believe in a higher power, they often feel a responsibility to help others. Most spiritual traditions emphasize giving, charity, and kindness. Worship reminds us to look beyond ourselves and care for those in need. Ever noticed how religious communities often organize food drives, shelters, and hospitals? That's because worship teaches compassion. It reminds us that true success isn't about what we take, but what we give. Strengthens families and relationships. Families that worship together tend to have stronger bonds. Why? Because the spiritual practices encourage love, patience, and forgiveness. When a family prays together, they are reminded to be kind to each other, to forgive mistakes, and to work through problems together. Think of a family where arguments happen all the time. Now imagine that same family taking a few minutes each day to sit together, pray, or reflect on their values. Over time, this simple act can reduce conflicts and create a more loving home. Worship brings people together, not just in families, but in friendships and communities too. Creates a more honest and just society. When people worship sincerely, they develop a sense of accountability, not just to society but to a higher power. That means they are more likely to be honest, fair, and just in their dealings. A shopkeeper who worships regularly and believes in divine justice is less likely to cheat customers. A leader who truly believes in a higher power is less likely to be corrupt. Worship develops a culture of honesty and integrity. A society that values worship is a society that values justice, kindness, and peace. So, let's wrap it up. We've explored why worship matters, not just for individuals but for society as a whole. It gives us purpose, strengthens our character, and helps us build a better world. If you've never really thought about worship before, maybe now is the time to try. You don't have to start big. Just take a moment each day to reflect, be grateful, or pray. See how it changes your mindset, your heart, and your life. And remember, worship isn't just about rituals. It's about how we live, how we treat others, and how we connect with something greater than ourselves. If you found this video meaningful, please support this channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Turn on notifications so you never miss another discussion like this. And let's keep the conversation going. What are your thoughts on worship? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay inspired, stay thoughtful, and keep growing.